Picture this, a formal dinner for Donald Trump and White House journalists. It's supposed to be a pretty standard evening, speeches, networking, but then, in a split second, that whole routine is shattered by the sound of gunfire. So today we're going to break down exactly what went down, who was behind it, and what this whole thing says about political security right now.
Just try to imagine you're in that room. You hear these muffled thuds. What is that? Fireworks? A car backfiring? Or is it the one thing you really hope it isn't? Automatic fire. That's the sheer confusion and alarm a BBC correspondent captured right there. It just puts us right in the middle of that chaos as it's all unfolding. So let's be crystal clear about what happened here. An individual opened fire right outside the venue where Donald Trump was speaking. This wasn't some distant threat. This was an attack literally at the doorstep of a major political event. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of the incident itself. What exactly happened, and how did security react in those first critical moments? This all went down incredibly fast. At 8:35 p.m., the shots are heard. Immediately, just like you see, security agents swarm Trump on stage. Just moments later, he's whisked out of the room. And then, a little bit after that, the suspect is caught. Honestly, this was a textbook case of a rapid security response in action. Okay, so with the immediate threat handled, everybody's focus shifted to the person behind the attack. Who was this guy, and what was he trying to do? Pretty quickly, police and media reports started to piece together an identity, finally answering that huge question on everyone's mind. The suspect was identified as 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen from Torrance, California. But here's the really startling detail. He wasn't some outsider trying to break in. He was actually a registered guest at the hotel. That fact alone just adds this whole other chilling layer to the incident, doesn't it? Donald Trump himself gave a description of the man during a press conference not long after it happened. He even shared images of the suspect and described him as, quote, a very sick person and someone who looks quite dangerous. This really gives us a direct line into his personal reaction to the man they caught. So that's Trump's personal take, but what are the official facts coming from law enforcement? Let's take a look at the official account. Police Chief Jeffrey Carroll laid out just how serious the threat was. The suspect was carrying a shotgun, a handgun, and multiple knives. I mean, this clearly wasn't just a protest, this was someone who came prepared for serious violence. Now, this brings up a huge question. Was this a security failure? Well, according to the police chief, the answer is a firm no. He was adamant that the checkpoint, quote, did its job. So from their point of view, this wasn't a security failure at all, it was a security success. It was a threat stopped exactly how the system was designed to stop it. Okay, so let's just recap what we know for sure. We've got the suspect's identity, we know the weapons he had, and we know the charges he's facing. But the biggest piece of this whole puzzle is still missing. The motive. Why did he do it? That's the one question at the heart of the investigation right now. With the suspect in custody, the focus now pivots to the legal process. So what are the immediate consequences he's looking at? And the process is moving really quickly. Right after the incident, the suspect was taken to a hospital for treatment. Then he was transferred into police custody. From there, federal charges were officially filed, and he's already scheduled to be in court on Monday. And listen, we're not talking about minor charges here. The U.S. Attorney's Office has charged him with 2 very serious federal offenses: using a weapon during a violent crime and assaulting federal officers with a dangerous weapon. These carry some major penalties, which just goes to show how seriously they're taking this. So, if we step back from the specifics of this one night, what does it all mean? Well, it forces us all to confront a much larger and frankly more troubling question about political security in general. You know, Trump himself actually drew a comparison to the assassination attempt he survived just a few months ago. In his assessment, he said the security this time around was much better. That's a really telling statement. It suggests that maybe some lessons were actually learned from that last attack. Let that number sink in for a second. 2. That's 2 life-threatening attempts on a former president in just a few months. This isn't just an isolated incident anymore. It's a terrifying pattern that really highlights the escalating danger faced by our political leaders. So, where does all this leave us? On one hand, you could say the system worked, and a potential tragedy was averted. That's a success. But on the other hand, we have the deeply unsettling reality that an armed man was able to get that close to a former president. This whole thing forces us to ask some really tough questions about how we protect our leaders in this era of extreme political division. How do we balance freedom and security? There are no easy answers, and that, right there, is the crucial and pretty alarming takeaway from this night.